All right, everybody, check out what they sent. Okay, and I know you saw Wyatt White, and he did a couple of fantastic you know, wrist candy, arm candy with these strands, but I just had to just kind of take a look at them again. When Sarah said, you know what, we're sending you something a little bit different than what you asked for, I said, okay, all right, I can go with that. So look at this one. This is one of the strands I'm going to be using today. I'm not going to use all of them, but this is one of the strands I'm going to be using today, the Coral Sea Glass. I'm also going to be using the Eternal Sunshine, because who does not need a little sunshine in their life, right? And I'm going to use the Orange Citrus. So pretty orange, super hot right now. The Blue Raspberry. Look at that. A couple of years ago, my family and I, we went to Hawaii, and I had seen the ocean before, but when I was in Hawaii, man, that ocean water, it made my jaw drop for sure. All right, I'm not going to be using the lilac today. I don't think I'm going to be using the lilac. I could change my mind. You never know. You never know. All right, and then of course the sage and the other colors, I don't think I'm going to be using those today. Now, I have to give a huge shout out to Jessie James Beads, because look at that spacer right there. Look at that guy right there. Is he not the coolest looking guy in the world? The wavy spacer right there. So if you love wavy spacers like I love wavy spacers, wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. Look at that. Oh my gosh. When I saw that wavy spacer, I said, yes. Yes, Jessie James, yes, yes. Give it to me all, give it to me. All right. Okay, so the first jewelry project that I kind of want to get to, I'm just going to throw this out there. All of my jewelry projects today are going to be earrings, okay? So they're going to be a little bit fun, a little bit funky, and they're definitely going to be something that you're going to want to make a splash in, okay? Let me see here. Let me get my stuff all together, all lined up. I think I'm going to use the blue raspberry first. All right, here we go. Here goes the tag, right? Okay, so blue raspberry first, right? Now, if you didn't know, Jessie James Beads has acrylic chain, right? So I don't know how many of you guys knew that, but Jessie James Beads has acrylic chain. And when I saw these, all I thought was, you know what? I would love to put, wrap some wire around some acrylic chain, or take off some of the chain and wrap some wire around it, and then hang something off of that. Oh, that would look so yummy. That would look so good. All right, so I'm going to take out my 26 gauge wire. I'm gonna open that up, 26 gauge wire. Okay, open that up, if it will let me open. Okay, so I have my 26 gauge wire. Now basically all I'm going to do is I'm gonna see this little gap right here. I'm basically gonna wire wrap kind of around it so the gap's not there anymore. But I am going to make it so there's a kind of a loop out here, or a, you know, so that my wire is sticking out, so that way I can put some beads on top of that to make some earrings off of that. Okay. All right. So let's get maybe a little bit more off of there. How many of you guys get nervous when you clip off this little plastic thing with your cutters and you're like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't cut the wire? How many of you guys get really nervous? I know I get nervous when I attempt to do that, and I'm like, oh goodness gracious, please don't let me cut all the way through the wire. If you guys have that, if you guys have that anxiety, let me know in the comments. I have that same anxiety that I'm gonna cut it. All right, so I cut off maybe 1.5 feet of wire. Okay. Now I did not measure, maybe that's 2 feet, but I did not measure. Okay, so I'm gonna stick this wire in here. Stick this wire, and Marisol, yes, please stay in camera. I know, I hear ya. Okay. Now, of course, getting this stuff started is the fun part, right? And yes, I decided to film this on one of the hottest days here in Tucson. It's about 113 degrees here, and I do apologize if you hear my AC unit, but I'm in my tiny house today, and the AC unit in my tiny house is just not kicking it. It's not working very well. But I got some cool air, but not that much. But I do apologize if you hear my AC unit, okay? All right, so we got something kind of started here. All right, so I'm going to go in and bring this out. And if you guys caught my live in February with the awesome Meredith Rowdy from Bead, you guys heard my story of I used to hate wire, and I did. I used to hate wire with a passion. It never went where I wanted it to go, and then every time I tried to, you know, wrap it or do something with it, it was just like, nope, not today, not today. So, you know what? People always ask me, what is your secret of working with wire? My secret of working with wire is don't give up. Don't give up on wire, okay? If it's not working for you, hey, put it down, go work on something else, and then come back to it. Sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to learn how to work with a particular textile, and it doesn't work, and we think we're a failure. You're not a failure. It's just that, you know, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to kind of be able to do something or work with something or work with a medium or a textile that you've never worked with before. And, you know, you just need to give yourself a little bit of grace and let yourself know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to feel frustrated, especially if you're just working on it for the first time, right? So kind of give it a try. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Don't get frustrated, put it down, and then come back to it, right? Come back to it. And figure out if it's, you know, if it's really a medium that you really want to work with and you really want to become proficient with. Give it a rest for a little while and then come back to it. I always tell people, you know, work with the different gauges of wire. 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Work with the different gauges of wire and get the feel for it, right? Because definitely 20 gauge is definitely different than 22, and 22 is definitely different than 24, right? Those of us who work with wire quite often know that those different wire gauges, it basically determines what our style or what our look is gonna be when we work with it, right? So that's always my tip when I work with wire. And Meredith and I had some really great questions in February during our Galentine live. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, go back on the Bead page, and you'll be able to see that. And it was back in February. Okay. So again, see how I have that little gap. Kind of makes me a little bit nervous, but not really nervous because I know I have that wire there and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I'm going to let it just kind of tell me what it wants to do. Now, also when you're working with wire, there are times where you need to let that wire know who is boss. Because if you don't let that wire know who is boss, that wire is going to go every other which way but the way you want it to go. Okay, so remember to tell that wire where you want it to go, but also listen to the wire. Okay, listen to the wire. Don't pull too hard. Don't don't work hard in it too much, because it will break on you, right? It will break on you. It's not forever set in stone, but it will break on you. Okay, so let's let's do a couple more loops and we will get on with the rest of it. Okay. All right. Okay. Perfect. It's looking great. Okay. All right. So this is what we have so far. All right. And as you can see, I still have my little tail here. Okay, little tail. Now comes the fun part. I am going to clip off this strand. I'm actually going to clip off the strand. Drum roll, please. All right. So let's scoot these little guys over here. Scoot that over there. This over there. That right there. This guy here. This guy right here. These are the ones that I'm looking for right here. Oh yeah. Come to mama. Yes. All right. Anybody else talk to their beads when they're beading? Anyone else? Please let me know I'm not the only weirdo in the group. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I like this little round dowel right here. This little rhinestone guy. Right. Okay. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to make one more wire loop. Okay. One more wire loop. So it kind of sits up there. That's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to sit up there. Now, as I came back up here, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my wire right back up into that rondelle, or into that little spacer, rhinestone spacer, okay? Come on. You can do it, little guy. All right. Okay, so he's just kind of sitting there. All right, he's kind of sitting there. Now see how my wire is just a little bit, looks a little funky, looks a little wonky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my nylon jaw pliers. I'm just going to kind of gently straighten out the wire just a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to do it too much because I don't want to, again, like I said, I do not want to work hard in my wire so much to where it's going to be really brittle and it's going to come apart and break. Okay, I do not want that. Now I'm going to get my little bead cap. Oh yeah, look at that, baby. Sorry. I was taken away by the blueness and the sparkle and oh, I got off camera there for a minute. Whew. So I told my husband, I hope I don't pass out. And he said, well, text me if you pass out. And I said, oh, you got jokes. All right, all right. Okay, so now that I have that, now it's starting to look like an earring, right guys? It's starting to look like an earring, okay? Now I'm going to get my round nose. Now you can use your regular round nose, or you can use the 6-step looper if you want all your loops to be consistent, which I do. Okay, so I'm going to get that. I'm going to turn my wire over. Okay, over on that. I'm going to turn my round nose, or my 6-step looper, that way. And I'm going to get the wire and I'm going to loop it. Now remember, this is 26 gauge wire, so it is not like 22 gauge, okay? It is not like 22 or 20, where it's just like, okay, a couple of loops and you're good to go. With the 26 gauge, you need to have a little bit more wire, okay? You need to have a little bit more wire so that it kind of stays where it's supposed to stay. All right, look at that. Oh, so pretty. All right, now we're gonna give it a good little snip. And get my flat nose, or my needle nose pliers, and then just give that little wire right there, give it a little tuck. Now see, you wouldn't have this moving around if it was 22 or 20 gauge wire, but I wanted to work with the 26 because I wanted a little bit more softer, a softer look, okay? There we go. Look at that. Sparkle, sparkle. And you would do that the same with the other one, okay? And then, of course, you put a nice little ear wire on there. Bam. Just like that, okay? Let's get that open. All right. Open. Open, open, open. Slide that baby in there. Okay. There we go. Check that baby out. Okay. Now, see this right here? It may be a little bit crooked, but that's okay. That's all right. Right? I think it's beautiful. All right, let's do the other one. How about that? Let's do the other one. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our 26 gauge wire back out. And take the couple feet. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get our little acrylic guy here. Now remember, Jessie Jane's Beads does carry acrylic chain, so, and it is exactly as it says, it is chain. So you can take some of the pieces of the chain off and not actually have to use it as chain. You can use it as something else. You can use it as a bracelet focal. You can use 1 or 2 as a bracelet focal. You can use some as earrings. You know, just because something says it's a chain does not mean that you necessarily have to use it as a chain, right? As designers, as creators, we look for ways to think outside the box when it comes to materials. I always, my husband sometimes challenges me when we go to like hardware stores, or we go, you know, somewhere where there's like not jewelry stuff, right? And he says, what would you make out of this? And I'm like, well, I would make blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, how would you make it? And then I would tell him how I would make it, and, you know, how I would put it together, and what would I use, and that kind of stuff. And he's like, all right, all right. And I'm like, what is that? You know? And he's like, well, just in case we get into the apocalypse, I need to know that you can make, you know, a pair of earrings or piece of jewelry or whatever to sell to make us some money if we need money. And I'm like, you're such a weirdo. But yeah, so play that game with yourself, you know, figure out, you know, when you're walking around like Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere else, and you're just kind of like any place that is not a jewelry haven for us, right? And just kind of look around and see what you can make with other stuff that's around, you know. I think as part of being a great creative person is that we have the ability to look at something and say, you know what, those could be great earrings, or that would be a great bracelet, or man, I could make a necklace out of that, or I could take that apart and make, you know, a toe ring or a ring. I could do that with that piece, you know. So, you know, I encourage you, I challenge you, in fact, to do that anytime you're out and about, right? If you're out and about, if your state has allowed, you know, has uplifted the quarantine for places, and you're out and about and stuff, and you're taking a look at stuff, challenge yourself to think about what you could make with stuff that is not necessarily jewelry making material. But for us designers and creators, everything could be made into a jewelry piece, right? we can pretty much make a jewelry piece out of anything if we wanted to, or needed to, I should say. So, you know, I challenge you. Take on that challenge. Make something different. Make something unusual. One question I want to ask: what is the most unusual material that you've made jewelry out of? What is the most unusual thing you've made jewelry out of? Put it in the comment section down below. Put it in the comment section. What is the most unusual thing you've made jewelry with, or a component out of, or just something different? What have you made that would not necessarily be considered a jewelry component, but you used it as one anyway? Okay, so what is the most unusual material you have used to make jewelry out of? Okay, put it down in the comment section for me. All right. So I just want to know how everybody's doing out there. Here in Arizona, we've gotten to the point where we are about 6 million vaccinated here in Arizona. Most of our kind of retail stores and restaurants have lifted the mask mandate. Only for those who are not fully vaccinated, they are still requiring them to wear a mask. So we're abiding by what our state is going by. But how are you doing in your state? How's your state doing? How are you doing during this environmental situation in which we got going on? How have you been doing with your creative juices? Have you been making stuff? Have you been just kind of like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the vibe, Marisol. I can't work it, or whatever. If that's what's going on in your world, you know what? Like I've said before, give yourself some grace. Just kind of give yourself some time to get back into whatever creative mojo you have that you want to share, or that you want to get back into. So give yourself some grace. That 2020 was it was a rough year. It was a rough year for a lot of us, and I get that and stuff, and I just don't want people to think that 2020 is just going to be that is how we're going to be living our lives. No. Everybody's going to start getting into the routine of doing whatever it is they need to do for their life, for their family, and whatnot. So I don't like to say the word normalcy, but I like to say routine, because after 2020, we're all going to have different routines on how we live our life, on what we do. Right? We're all going to have different routines. So that's why I like to say, once everybody gets into their particular routine on how they're going to be for 2021 and going forward, then that is what is going to work for them. Okay? That is going to be what's going to work for them. Right? Okay. I'm going to get my 6-step looper. All right. And then go here. Up. I kind of want that to be just a little bit bigger. And then again, like I said, because we're using 26 gauge wire, I am going to wrap loopy, loopy, loopy. Okay. I'm going to wrap several times, and I am going to make it a little bit tight because, again, like I said, this is 26 gauge wire. Okay, this is 26 gauge wire. It's not like 20 gauge. It's not like 22 where, you wrap it a couple times and you're like, woohoo, good to go. No, 26 gauge wire, you need to give it a little bit more love and a little bit more of a tug. Okay, love and tug. I made a rhyme. All right, so we're going to snip this off. Beep. Okay, and then I'm going to get my little, what did I do with my flat noise? Oh, no, all right. Go, give that little smush in there. Get another ear wire. Open that baby up. I have it turned the wrong way. All right. And if you are in a creative rut, if you are, you feel like you lost your mojo, you feel like you've lost, the creative spirit, so to speak. In the group, tell us what you're doing to get out of that funk. All right, there we go. One pair of earrings, done and done. Sparkle, sparkle. All right. A lot of people ask me to, hey, Marisol, what do you do to get out of your creative rut? Well, that's a great question. I like to get outside. I like to go outside, and I like to kind of do stuff outside. And I like to kind of basically just enjoy the outside, figure out, what's different out there. You know, are the seasons changing yet? I know Arizona here, we don't really we don't really have a lot of seasons here, but you know, we like to think that we have a spring. It's not really spring, it's just really warm here. And so, you know, we do what we can here. We do what we can here in Arizona. So we have mild hot, and I'm getting ready for, well, never mind. So I was going to show you a couple of other little acrylic pieces here. This is like a yellow, and then this is like a gray. And, you know, again, like I said, Jessie Jane's Beads has some great acrylic chain inside in their shop. So look at that. How wonderful would that be? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I may make a pair of earrings like that with this color combo, and then post it up on the wall. Just, you know, oh, just for conversation. Good gravy. Look at that. Fire. Fire. Right? So, and then there's these yellow acrylic, and I was looking at, look at that little guy right there. Look at that little elephant guy. He is so adorable. How can you not love this little guy right here? Oh my goodness. Yep, beads are flying everywhere. It's okay. It's all right. Let it happen. Let them fly where they need to fly. Right? Let the chips fly. Oh, look at that guy. Look at him. Oh my goodness. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Look at that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put together some of those too. I'm gonna have to put together some of those. Look at those little guys, right? So the yellow at the Jessie Jane's Beads website, it's like a mojito. It's called mojito chain, acrylic chain. So the mojito acrylic chain, and then this, oh my God, this gray is just too good. It is just too good to pass up. Too good. All right, so that was my idea for, you know, these two. And then again, check out the Jessie Jane's Beads acrylic chain. There's all kinds of different colors in there. There's reds, there's blues, there's oranges, there's yellows, there's grays, there's clear. So check those out on the website. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put these guys over here. Oh my God, those are fantastic. All right, so when I got the strands, right, I was like, man, I need some more Jessie Jane's Beads, because I am a Jessie Jane's Beads hoarder. Raise your hand if you are a hoarder. It's okay. You're in the safe space. You are in the safe space. You are exactly where you need to be amongst the rest of us. All right. So I went down to one of my local Walmarts, and I was like, you know what? I know I have seen some design mixes, right, that go with some of these strands. And I was like, I have to go and get me some of these design mixes. I have to, right? So I went down there, got me some design mixes, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. So if you have a local Walmart and they have a jewelry or a craft section, check it out. Sometimes they have great stuff, and sometimes it's bare. One of the Walmarts that I visit frequently to do some of our grocery shopping, the last time I looked, the jewelry section was like bare. It almost looked like they were doing a revamp. They were doing a revamp of their section. So so check it out. Periodically check in and see what's going on at your local Walmart in the craft section, the jewelry section, because you never know, could pop up and you could have some selections. You could have some bead strands in there that other Walmarts don't have across the country. So you never know, right? You never know what's going to happen. Okay. All right. So, all right. So I think I'm going to put the coral aside for right now. I'm going to put the coral aside. I might bring it back. It's not going away forever. I might bring it back. Okay. So, oh man, look at this. Look at this design mix. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is the mini mix rainbow. Okay. It has 34 pieces in it. And I always say that, you know, the Jessie Jane's Beads mini mixes, they're like clown cars, right? You open it up and it's like the beads just come, they keep coming out. It's like, when is this gonna stop? When does this end? Okay. And oh my gosh, I'm so afraid. So if you're afraid to open these sometimes because you're afraid that the beads are gonna go like flying everywhere, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up that you have that same fear that the beads are gonna be flying everywhere. I have 3 cats, so eventually in one way, shape, or another, they're gonna help me find the beads. But yeah, my thing is that they're gonna be like, run away, we are free. So if you have that same thing, give me a thumbs up in the comments section. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, look at those babies. Woo wee, loving it. All right. Whoop. That little guy was just running away on me. All right. So I'm gonna get me a head pin. I'm gonna get me a head pin. Let's make some, I don't want to say traditional earrings, but I'm gonna get me a head pin. And let's make some little drop earrings here. Right, using, let me see, should we use this one? Oh, look at that with the little square on top. Oh, Jessie James Beads, what are you doing to me? Oh my goodness. Look at that color right in there. Oh. Woo. This is like fun in the sun type of mix. And you need to get you some, because if you don't, it'll pass you by. It'll pass you by, definitely, for sure. It'll pass you by. All right, snippy snip. There it goes. All right. Now see the different spacers and stuff. I'm not a snob when it comes to gold, but I just don't use a lot of it. I don't use a lot of it. If you have a particular finish, metal finish that you like to use all the time, what is it? What is that? I like to use like antique copper, brass, silver, of course, rose gold. I like to use those because I guess I am a Southwest girl at heart. So a lot of that kind of stuff I gravitate towards. And look at these guys. Oh, they look like little suns. Oh, they look like a sun. So happy, so cheery. I love it. But what kind of finishes do you guys gravitate towards? Do you guys gravitate towards all the finishes? Gold, antique copper, antique brass, silver, rose gold. Do you guys gravitate to all the finishes, or is there one particular finish that you are just like, nope, that's my jam. That is my jam. Or I only design in this kind of color scheme. Is there one type of finish that you use in and out that is your tried and true, right? I almost did a Meredith. Did you guys see that I almost did a Meredith? As I was taking everything off of the strand, I basically separated everything. What the heck? Meredith is rubbing off on me. I need to go make a mess now. I need to go make a mess because that was ridiculous. I shouldn't be. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so I think I'm going to, I don't know, guys. Check this out. Look at this. Oh, look at these spacers. Oh my goodness. All right. Make up your mind, Marisol. Make up your mind. All right. Look at those spacers. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, let me see here. How about that? There. With those little guys up there. I don't know. I am not sure what to do. Goodness gracious. All right. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Am I pushing it? I might be pushing it, right? I might be pushing it. So let me see here. I think for this one, I am going to need 22 gauge. But what would you guys say to that? With the multi-artistic wire, 22 gauge. Popping that in there. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, think about that one. This one is called Natural, but I think that may be too orange. So I may have to revert back to my tried and true of silver 22 gauge wire, and I can't find it. So I thought I had it on my table. Give me 1 second. All right, it was on the table right behind me. Hello. All right, so 22 gauge wire. Let's see here. If you guys like this color combo right here with the multicolor artistic wire, give me a thumbs up in the comment section, and I'll make another pair of earrings with this multicolored 22 gauge artistic wire. But I think for now we're gonna keep that to the side over there. We're gonna let that guy rest over there. All right. And again, here we go. Everybody, drum roll, hold your breath that I don't cut a whole bunch of strands of wire. If you're just joining us, catch the replay on what I'm talking about with that. You know, we were talking a little bit more about like anxiety with the wire. And so Meredith taught me not to cut off that little bitty piece that was all that was all messed up. She's like, get your nylon job pliers out and straighten that wire out. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes. If you're watching, Meredith, I love you. All right. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of wire here. I'm not measuring. I'm just going to cut it off. We're all friends here. All right. We're all friends here. Okay. I'm just going to cut that off. La, 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 la. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pretty pear-shaped little baby. And you guys see that? And I'm going to get this piece right here, this little baby tail. Okay. That's maybe about, now I will tell you how much that is. That's maybe about 2.5 inches. Okay. And our little guy, he's about maybe 1/2 inch. Okay. So I'm going to get it. I'm going to wrap this wire up the back. Okay. And then I'm going to give it some turns of the wire. All right. Now remember, this is 22 gauge wire. So this wire, you do not need to be super forceful with it. Okay. Not like the 26. Okay. You do not need to be forceful with this wire. This wire is going to go where you tell it to go. Okay. So I'm making kind of like a little bitty seat. Right? A little bitty chair. Okay. So there we go. And I'm kind of going to straighten that out just a little bit, this little long piece of wire. Now see, I have that little guy there. I'm going to get my little nippers. Nip that baby off. Bam. Bye-bye. Okay. All right. So then we have that. Straighten it out. Do what you need to do with that. Okay. Now I'm going to get this cute little spacer guy. Right. Put him on there. Okay. Oh yeah. Looks like a little crown. What's up? All right. Now we're going to get this little yellow guy. Should we put a wavy spacer in there? Should we put a little wavy spacer in there? I think we need a wavy spacer. I think we need a wavy spacer. I think we need a wavy spacer. Wavy spacer. Where are you? Come here. All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Do you guys talk to yourselves when you're designing jewelry? When you're designing, and you're like, oh man, that was a great decision, Marisol. You are fantastic. Oh, look at that. That totally made a difference. Look at that. Yes, yes. Okay, now we need another one on the top. Yeah, baby. Okay. There we go. Bam. Woo! Man. Now these may be a little bit long. Now see how it's like kind of small, medium size, large. at the top. Now, I always tell people, take a look at your aesthetic of how your design is kind of flowing and how it's sitting. If that does not look appeasing or appealing to your eye, take it apart, okay? Take it apart. Nobody says that you have to keep it that way, okay? Marisol doesn't say that you have to keep it that way, all right? It's whatever is appeasing to you. So let me take that apart, and I'm gonna actually put the big piece first. Put that little big piece first. I'm gonna keep that little spacer guy in there though, because he's just too darn cute. Yes, he is. And now I'm gonna put the little medium-sized guy there. How about that? Is that better? Is that better? Yeah? Okay. All right. Now, the question is, which of these cute little dudes do I put on here? And yes, I use dude. All right. Do you guys like that one? Or do you like this one? The teal one. That kind of ties it in to this one here. Which one? I think I like the teal one. I think I like the teal one better. Now, should we put a spacer bead here? Should we put a spacer bead there? I think we should. I think we should. All right. Now, some of you may be wondering why I did not put a rhinestone rondelle in between any of these. It's because, you know what? This, look at the sparkle and the shine just in these 3 beads, okay? I do not want to put too much competition into the design or the flow of the earring. But hey, if you want sparkle in there, you want some rhinestone, you know, you want to be the rhinestone cowgirl, shoot, by all means, go for it, okay? All right, here we go. I got my 6-step looper. Of course, if you don't have the 6-step looper, don't worry. You can just use your regular round nose plier, okay? Here we go. I'm gonna bend the wire over. I'm gonna take my 6-step looper. I'm gonna get it on over. And I think what I'm gonna do is, see how I made that little bend? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my 6-step looper back over here, and see that little round part there? I'm gonna round it over just on that part there, and then I'm gonna bring this up right here, okay? I think that's what I'm gonna do, because that feels better. That feels better for me. All right. And again, if you see how that loop is there, if you need to bring it closer to the bead because you don't like a lot of space, I get that, okay? Put your looper back in, all right? Turn it, and then straighten your wire, okay? There we go. Check that out, okay? Still there, still loop, it's just a little bit closer to the bead, okay? Now, get your wire, and we're gonna do the same thing, wrap it, okay? Now remember, this is 20 gauge wire, so you do not need to do a whole bunch of wraps. Not like the 26, okay? Not like the 26 gauge wire, all right? There we go. Kind of give it a little wiggle, right? It's like, sometimes it's like playing Jenga with your beads, right? You're just not sure how it's gonna go and fall into place, right? Okay, there's that. Let me get me a little ear wire. Put that puppy on an ear wire. Be good to go. Now, see how this part is in the back? I want it in the back. That's where I need to put it, okay? When I put it on my ear wire, I need to make sure that part is in the back, okay? So that's the back part of it. Look at that. Ay, Dios mío, qué lindo. Qué lindo. All right, let's do the other one. Let's do the other one. Let's do the other one. All right. 20 gauge wire. Where did you go? I just had you. All right, 20 gauge wire. Okay. Again, I am not measuring. I'm like one of those Latinas in the kitchen. We don't measure. We're not even when we're following a recipe that's been in our family forever. We don't measure, all right? So I'm gonna take these guys out because we're not using those, right? We're not using those. I'm gonna set those up just so that I know. I'm gonna bring out a couple more wavy spacers. All right, okay. We're gonna get our pear shape or our teardrop shape bead. And 1.5 inches. Okay, and then we're gonna turn it. Y'all, I can tell that I'm starting to sweat. You know why? Because the wire is getting slippery, because my hands are getting slippery, because I'm starting to sweat. And you know what? You know what the funny thing is that it's probably cooler outside than it is inside here. I probably should have sat outside, but then you guys would have heard cars and, you know, I don't know, all kinds of other stuff going on out there. All right, so there we go. We've started. And our next step is to add our little teal little disc or little flying saucer. It's so adorable. All right. And now we need a little wavy spacer. Okay. And now we need our beautiful yellow bead. Another wavy spacer. So one thing I want to point out about the wavy spacers, if you can't see or can't tell, is see how it has that little cup. How it has that little cup, looks like a little saucer, right? So how you put it upside down or right side up, that is going to determine how the little spacer looks up against your bead. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, and then there's that. All right, did we put a little wavy spacer? We sure enough did. We sure enough did. All right, fantastic. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, this adorable little guy, flying saucer. All right, fantastic. Look at that. Yes, I love it. I love it, Jesse James. I love it. All right, now if I could find my flat nose, I guess we can use this. Okay, so I'm just gonna, this is another way to do a loop. You can get your flat nose or your chain nose pliers, bend it over, okay? Bring in your 3-step louver or your round nose pliers, okay? Take your wire, loop it over, pliers, turn them up, okay? And then turn it like that. All right, and there's your loop. Now again, like I said, if your loop is too far, there's too much of a space for you between the wire loop and your beads, turn it and then straighten out your wire. Okay, turn it and straighten out your wire. All right, sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. It all takes practice. Everything in jewelry making takes practice. So again, be patient with yourself, okay? Be patient with yourself. All right, there we go. There's our loop. Now we're gonna give a couple of wraps here. La, da, da. Again, this is 20 gauge wire. I'm sorry, 22 gauge wire. So you do not need to go like crazy like we did with the 26 gauge wire. Okay, don't need to go cray cray. All right, snip that baby off. Do not throw this piece of wire away. Save it. Do not throw wire away, because I will come over and scold you. Don't do that. Okay, no throwing wire away. All right, learn how to make jump rings. Do something, but do not throw those pieces of wire away. Okay, now I need ear wire. Get that baby open. And again, that is the back part right there. So I want that towards the back. Don't want it hanging towards the front. Beep. All right. That is earring pair number 2. Check that out. Ooh. sparkle. Oh yeah, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Actually, we haven't had rain here in Tucson for quite some time, so I don't even know why I'm singing that song. All right, so let's take a look at the 2 pairs of earrings that we did today on our Fun Day Monday. Here's earring pair number 1 and earring pair number 2. All right, look at that. Beautiful pieces for summer. All right, and I'm gonna make a couple more pieces using the other strands, and then I will post them up. I wanted to make this video really short and really quick. One, because it is hot in here and I'm feeling the sweat, and I'm actually feeling kind of shaky because it's so warm in here. And 2, because I had a couple of other ideas and they just didn't work out, and my other materials are in my home, not in my jewelry studio, my tiny house jewelry studio. So I have a couple more ideas, so I'm gonna put those together with the other strands that JJ Bead sent to me, and that is it for me, folks. So let me turn it right back over to the front, and let's say our goodbyes. Hold on just one second.